Okay, this is going to be a video review of the DJI Mini 3. This is the Fly More combo with the RC controller. I'm going to say that it's quite a long video. I'm going to say that right from the start because I'm going to pack a lot in. So feel free to skip in and out for the bits you actually want. I'll try and put timestamps in the written review. Starting with the packaging, if you're going to spend this much, it's probably a good idea to know exactly what you're going to get. This is currently on for about £720. There we go. This is everything you get in terms of the packaging. As you can see, it's completely sealed. So let's unseal it now and let's have our first unboxing. It's actually sealed twice here. And you have a little QR code there just to get you started. And it's all presented in this pouch. Given that you're getting the Fly More combo, you'd expect that. And the first thing to notice about this pouch, even before I open it, is two things. Number one, really beautiful. Very, very, very understated, but very, very, very well made. And two, I've had a lot of pouches like this where the zip is not properly water protected. The zip here is buried deep down underneath the lip here. You can see rubber protection there for the zip here. The water is not getting in there or there if you get caught out in the rain. A very, very, very important thing to understand if you're going to get, take this out and about with you. You're going to need to know that it's protected. And that's one of the things that this Fly More combo actually offers you. And the pouch opens from the back here. This is the bit that would be against your body. That's the front of it, but actually that's the back that opens up to reveal the drone and accessories inside. Controller. There we go. Charger. And there's the drone itself. Very, very tight and compact. Anything else in there? Just a few of those silica packs. And just to check, there's nothing in that front pocket. So this is what you get. So we're going to open these a pack at a time. So starting with this little cable pouch, you've got USB-C to C, USB-A to C, a little screwdriver for adjusting propellers, and a number of different starting guides, quick start guide, safety guidelines, flight safety rules for countries like Japan, France, Australia, and New Zealand, and another user guide there. So plenty of documentation included in there, although it is very, very small and compact. Very important you do check out the safety guidelines. Although this is a 249-gram drone, which means that you do not have to necessarily have yourself registered as a drone pilot. The fact that it has a camera on it does change things. So please do look up the CAA and check exactly what you need to know before you start flying this, particularly if you've never flown a drone before. Okay, next one here, and we're opening these in reverse order of interest because that's how television works. If I want to keep you watching, that's what I have to do. The drone will be last. Skip ahead. You know that's coming. This is just the battery charger. And because you get the Fly More pack, you get an extra 2 additional batteries. So this is the charger here, in and out there, power just there. So it is capable of charging from a power bank as well as from the mains. And I think this is something that's going to be really important for you to understand when it comes to charging this. USB Type-C in, it will charge at 5 volts 3 amps, so that's 15 watts, or 9 volts 3 amps, which is 27 watts, or 12 volts 3 amps, which is 36 watts. So you can charge it faster depending on your power source. So bear that in mind if you want to get a power bank or something like that, so you can charge these while you are out and about. You can do, but you'll need a power bank that can provide a decent amount of power. Okay, you don't want a power bank that's charging at 5 volts 1 amp or 5 volts 2 amps. You need something that can provide a bit more than that. So you can see this power bank here is charging at 9.2 volts, 2.2 amps, which means it'll fill up a lot quicker. And of course you can charge 2 at the same time, but you can see it was charging at its maximum rate when one was in there. So they'll charge at half the speed because it's the same amount of energy going in, but it's being split between 2 batteries. Of course, the best thing to do is keep these topped up, and then while you are not flying, keep this connected. And we're just going to use this 100-watt charger just to charge it from the wall to test that. And what we can see is that it is charging now at a really fast rate of 12 volts, 3 amps, or 36, just under 36 watts, which is fantastic. Very interesting. It is, I was mistaken earlier. It is only charging the first battery there. It is not splitting it between two, but you can see it's charging this one up nice and quickly. Not touching this one at the minute. As soon as that battery is removed, it goes on to charging this one just here. Okay, again, charging at a similar rate. It's charging a little bit less now because it works its way up there, but it's getting up 26 watts, 29 watts, 31 watts. It'll get up to the 36 watts. So what I would recommend is before you go, charge all three of these up, and then off you go, and then just keep it topped up with a very decent power bank. Okay, Fly More bundle. I think these are supposed to give you about 38 minutes of fly time, which is fabulous, really. Combining the three, you're looking at almost 2 hours of fly time with the three batteries, and that's if you're not recharging them. So much there, and that's one of the real benefits of this Fly More combo. So we get on to the really meaty stuff. Here we go. So this is the RC controller. It is obviously the one with the screen built in, so no need to attach a smartphone. It has the app already installed, so you don't need to worry about that. And it is very, very comfortable. Really, really tactile. Obviously, without the sticks attached, the sticks are just there on the back, just there. You won't be controlling it, but it is a beautiful piece. Okay, we're going to go into a lot more detail about this. Now, I'm not going to go into all the functions of the controller because there's far too many. But I will say that if you're comparing it to the RC N1, the standard controller, I think this has so many improvements over it to warrant choosing this and spending the extra if you can possibly justify it. Not having to set up with a phone, not having to mess around with cables or anything like that. Massive. The controls are a bit more refined, which is, I think, really, really good. And it's all just set up and ready to go. And I think that makes a huge, huge difference. So I will say that I think it's worth the extra. I know it's expensive for this controller, but in this case, I really do think it's worth it. I think this is a really well thought out, really nicely designed, compact controller that does everything you want. And in that respect, I would definitely choose this over the standard RCN1 because it's that much better. So we move on to the main event. Here it is. And one thing I will say that is a tiny bit disappointing about this Fly More combo is that for the price, I'd have expected like a propeller strap to prevent these propellers from coming loose in the bag. I know the bag has its own dedicated slot. I know they shouldn't move once they're in there. But even so, I think a propeller strap would have been very, very, very welcome and probably not have added a huge amount to the cost. But anyway, that's possibly just me, personal preference. It is a lovely, lovely piece. Let's just weigh it, shall we? So let's weigh it. Needs to come on under 249, 257, but then of course it does have the plastic cover on. Will this be a 10-gram cover? Let's take it off gently. Oh, that was a close one. Me breathing on it is making it heavier. You are that close to the bone. 248 grams, which leaves you maybe a gram or two to take off for removing these, but then to add on to put in the SD card. It is that close to the limit. It is properly close to the limit there. And there it is in all its glory. Now, if you were wondering what is the difference between this and the Mini 3 Pro, as far as I'm aware, the main differences are, well, it's mainly to do with tracking and sensors. This does not have subject tracking, so you can't automatically tell it to lock onto a subject and then track that subject. And in addition, this has sensors at the bottom there for takeoff and landing, but it doesn't have sensors around here for obstacle detection, so you're going to have to be more careful with how you fly it. Okay, the propellers are just here, but there's no spare propellers included in the box, so that's again something you're going to have to be careful of. Given that this is the Fly More combo, it would perhaps have been nice to include maybe a couple of propellers, especially given that this doesn't have the obstacle detection. But it is what it is. And just one thing that I found out that I wasn't aware of before this, but I think it's very useful to know. If you do break a propeller on this, because obviously it doesn't have the obstacle detection, if you do break a propeller, you need to replace it. You're better off replacing the propellers in pairs, because they are balanced to work together with each other. So instead of replacing just one, replace the pair. All right. So this is the unit in full. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take it out and give it a good road test. Okay. No final thoughts before we do take it out. If you do get the RC controller, I'm going to strongly recommend put yourself a screen protector on there. You're going to be out and about, so you're going to need a screen protector. And a few things that don't come in with the Fly More kit, but I think that you should be thinking about bringing. Make sure you bring yourself lens cloths. You don't want to be out and about and not have a clean lens cloth there, because you don't know what's going to attach itself to the camera at the front. And make sure you bring yourself spare propellers. Just a couple of spare propeller blades at least. You've got the bag for it, so bring them just in case. And if you do bring the propellers, something you might get caught out on, make sure you brought the screwdriver as well, because the propellers on their own are no good. You're going to need the screwdriver as well. So is the RC controller worth it? I think so. Is the Fly More kit worth it? Well, for the batteries alone, I'm going to say yes. Right, so I just want to talk about a few of the differences between this and the Pro version. Obviously, we've spoken before, it doesn't have the subject tracking features of the Pro, which is, understandable. It doesn't have the sensors for obstacle collision detection. Again, it's pretty understandable. The camera in it isn't quite as good. The Pro will do 4K video at 60 frames a second. This will only do it at 30 frames a second. It will do 60 frames a second at 2.7K, which is pretty decent, but it's just not quite up there with the Pro there. Similarly, the stills camera is really, really great. It's 12 megapixels and the Pro is 48 megapixels. So, there has to be a reason why one's a Pro and one's not, and that's mainly the reason. It doesn't have other features, so for example, it doesn't have hyperlapse, if that's important to you, that kind of like time-lapse photography kind of picture, but I don't think that's necessarily massively important. And the Fly More combo, I think, is definitely worth it because of the batteries. I mentioned that earlier. However, I'll also say that my Fly More combo didn't appear to come with everything it was supposed to be. You saw me, I've tried to make it really, really clear that I open this and unseal everything right in front of you so that you see I don't miss anything. And it was missing any spare propellers. Apparently there's supposed to be 3 separate pairs of spare propellers. They weren't in there. Yeah, and that kind of is a little bit annoying. It's also missing the screws that would go with those propellers. Presumably they're in the same pack. Now, you saw me open it in front of you, so I tried to be as clear as possible with that, and to have those missing is something that's costing, over 700 quid. I expect that kind of attention to detail to be there. I'm sure I can contact the DJI. I'm sure they'll send something out, but that shouldn't be a problem right from the start. And another little handy thing about charging, you can see here that I can charge 2 at the same time with the battery charger and the drone there. Obviously not while the drone is flying, unless you've got a very long cable. But this makes charging at home a really quick process. You can see this one has gone from empty to full, and that's taken just over half an hour, I would say. Just over half an hour to get from 0 to full. So yeah, if you've got a strong enough battery bank, you can literally be cycling these batteries all day, and you can get as long as you want flying time out there with the Fly More combo and the the 3 batteries. So something to bear in mind. And I'm just recording this little extra bit because I need to eat my words a little bit. I blamed DJI earlier for not giving me the extra blades and screws that they promised. And, well, look, they're all here, present and correct. The reason was there was an additional... So you've got your compartments here. There was an additional secret compartment here in the lid, on the underside of the lid, that I didn't spot. So I'm going to leave my my error in the video and add this bit in, just because you may have the same thoughts as I did. Oh no, I haven't been given the extra blades. No, you have been given the extra propellers. They're just in the top compartment there. So I'm going to make myself look a little daft in order that you don't have to. Would you believe they even put a little tag on the zipper saying accessories inside? Oh, there's just no excuse, is there? I'm sorry, DJI. And while I'm on the subject of apologising, one of the things I was unhappy about earlier, which I didn't mention on video, but I'm going to just call myself out now and say it, is that the documentation included, the paper documentation, is rubbish. You know, there was a few little scraps of paper, but they're kind of rubbish. But it's all there. It's all there. And if you get in the RC model, you don't have to download the DJI Flight app. That's for controlling the drone using your phone. But you don't need to do that because you've got that already pre-installed on your controller. But what you do get access to are the video tutorials and the user manual. Here's the user manual, and that is so much more comprehensive than the little rubbishy little leaflets that you get attached. Everything you need to know is there, and it also gives you here, you can see here, a beginner's guide, a video. It's very well thought through, and it improves immensely on what I thought was provided, which, you know, I thought there was very little documentation provided. Actually, it's all there. It's just in digital form. Right, a few important things to understand before you just get out there and start flying. Firstly, loads of registration, activation, updating required. Both of them needed a firmware update. You can't start using this, even though it's got the RC controller, you can't start using it until the drone has been activated. That requires a network connection, so you need to do that at home before you get out there. And that's going to be really important, because if you just get your new drone and you think, great, I'm off, I'm going to go out and enjoy it, and if you haven't set it up already, I'm afraid you're going to be stuck. You can't fly it until it's activated. It goes to a whole updating procedure, and then once you've activated it and it's all updated and everything like that, that's when you'll be able to take it out and fly. But even before you do that, really important, you've got to register with the CAA if you haven't registered as a drone pilot. So if you're not already a drone pilot, you need to register with the CAA, but even though it's under 250 grams, because it's got a camera on it. So they have all the information on there. You go and have a look at the Civil Aviation Authority and check their website. They've got loads of stuff about drones. If you've never flown a drone before, you'll have to register as a drone operator and get an operator ID and a flyer ID. Check the CAA website for all of that, because it's far too much to go into right now. But a lot of people, I think, will be buying this without realizing there's a lot of preparation to do before you actually get started with flying it.
altitude reached. Home point updated.
Get it. Get it, girl. No.
Oh, almost got it, girl. Good girl.
e si procede con l'aggiornamento.
Depois vai ter videozinho do castelo de cima. Hoje a gente conseguiu.